All right. Can you hear me? Let me know you can hear me. We'll drop the music out. Can you hear me, John? Ridiculous. No sound. Let me know if you can at least hear me. Yeah, lovely. Right. Yeah, we'll sort the music out later. I'm thinking of going back to OBS, people. I mean, last time I just didn't know how to use it, but I can't put my QR code up with this nonsense. They wrote to me and I got a week free of the advanced plan, and when I cancelled it, obviously, because it's like 90 quid a month, they said to me, do you want 40% off if you sign up for a year? But that's still like 600 quid. I went, nah. So I wrote to them and said, if you want to give me a discount from the cheaper one, I'll consider it. They got back to me and said, are you a non-profit? I went, well, kind of. Let's get some LOs in before too many lunatics rock up. I'll tell you what, you're on the inside scoop here. Without a doubt, I know things about this, the brand situation, that most people on YouTube don't. So this could be interesting. I've obviously got to be careful. And I'm going to say right now, just to make this clear, I don't know if he's guilty of the 4 charges. He's innocent until proven guilty, that without a doubt. And I stand by that, obviously. I'm not here trying to sort of imply anything. But hang on, can I get a bit lighter? Is that a bit better, or is it just weird? Who turns the light up and gets more shadow? Check that out. Look, turn it down. Strangely lighter. What's better, people? We've got 3 options. That's migraine settings. That or that. They're sort of all the same. I think StreamYard adjusts it. Anyway, who else we got in here? Mike Edwards. Hello, Mike. Hello, JP. Shane Ross Jury. Nate Spurs. Matt Zucker. Spanish Chicken. Jongler. Jongler. Hello, Jessica. How are you? Young Daniel. Rollo Vaughan. Finally got around to follow me on Substack. Nice one, mate. Honey Monster. Nice to see your son. Abstract Steve is in. He's dragged himself away from those abstract paintings. He's like a modern day Kandinsky. Well, Kandinsky's in many ways a modern day Kandinsky. I don't know how it works these days. IR, it wouldn't surprise him. Right, well, IR says, it wouldn't surprise me. However, it was 25 years ago. It seems like a smear job. I will address that, and I've got information that might shine some light on that. Hello, Elliot. What an absolute pleasure. Yeah, I know. I don't know what to do about it. Let me see if I can do something about that. They've changed it all. This is the truth, right? They've changed it to make it not as good so that you pay. Before, I could put my QR code on it for free. I mean, it's their business. They're obviously not making enough money. But they've made it... I mean, you ask anyone, it's 42s here, they'll tell you it's not as good as it used to be. It's a bait and switch with StreamYard. They've let us have it for a few years for free. I even paid when it was 20 quid a month, no dramas. But now, even the free ones just like this. What's that box? I don't want that. Does anyone know how to get rid of it? Solo layout. No. Rubbish. What's that one do? No. Cinema layout. Shift and 8. No, I'm not going to press any buttons because edit layout. This didn't work. Oh man, cancel that. Yeah, sorry about the box. Spanish chicken, hell yeah. Hey Sheila, I thought you said hell yeah for a minute there. Anyway, I'll wait for a few. Thank you. Like that? It's quite nice because in this light it looks a lot less patchy and old than it actually is. Mousecat says, Chris, if you'd have got Brand's fame, how do you think your strangle story might sound in court if the lady decided to lie and come forward years later? When I tell those stories, I make a point of pointing out that it was absolutely consensual, and she's fine. She's great. She's good fun. She wouldn't, but I get that she would. But let me wait until I've explained some things that I know, and you might have a different opinion on things. Let's get the grift out of the way. Hello, Sheila. When I say get the grift out of the way, I mean me not mention it again, but I'd quite like it to be at the forefront of your heads. You've got entropy at the top of the YouTube chat. You've got super chats at the bottom. I can't put the QR code up, but the link to buy me a coffee is down there. If you use buy me a coffee, you get a personal video reply, which I'll make after the stream. I've done it for Sensum and Paxmax last time. Paxmax is coming out to Cambodia. He said, do you want anything brought over? I need a food thermometer and some cheesecloth. I'm going to start making yogurt. It's not a euphemism. I mean, we've all been making yogurt for years in many ways, but check out how easy it is to make yogurt. Out here, I get through tons of yogurt. When I was a kid, I would eat yogurt to the point where I got in trouble. Mother and father would go over to Calais to get like booze and fags, and they'd bring back a crate of Chamborsy yogurts. Yogurts in my house were like a luxury. I mean, when sour milk is a luxury, you get an idea of someone's upbringing. But they'd be in the fridge. Now, my house was a 2 up, 2 down, middle of terrace. So if you wanted to go to the toilet, you had to go through the kitchen. But if you had to go through the kitchen, you had to go past the fridge. If you had to go past the fridge, you had to go past the yogurts. Every time I went to the toilet, that fridge would be going, there's yogurts in here. And I'd open it really quietly. I learned how to prise a yogurt out of a crate with like proper nimble fingers, get in the toilet, pull the top off, one glug, like an egg-eating snake. But then when I leave the toilet, I've got to go past the fridge again. So that's another yogurt. If you're using like crack, if you're using a yogurt on every pass, in a day you've done like 12, 14 yogurts. And so the crate of 24 would be gone in 2 days, and my mum would go absolutely nuts. She'd call me out in front of the whole family. She'd be like, what makes you think all those yogurts are yours? And it was weird. I'd be like, I don't know. I know that they're not. But when you're a kid, it's hard, especially when you're hungry. When you say to your mum, I'm hungry, and she's like, have a sugar sandwich, have a salad cream sandwich. That doesn't look like what they're eating on telly, though. Well, what's all that solid stuff that people sit back afterwards and smack their tummies? Don't know that feeling. So I said to myself as a kid, when I'm an adult, I will eat as much fucking yogurt as I fucking want. And I do. It's probably going to kill me. It's probably too much of something, and it's also that probiotic natural stuff. So, by the end of the day, my stomach's like a waltzer. Anyway, one of those, I do about half litre a day. On a good day, I've got an half litre a day habit. That's like £3.50 a day. And amazing sin. It's probably Skin. Skin says, time to invest. Yeah, you're so right. When I tried OBS before, everyone said the audio when I played tunes was like crisp, as if they were listening to it clear. The only thing was I didn't know how to work it, so it was a bit, here and there. So yeah, what I'll do is, anyway, let me finish reading the message. Nice one, Skin. Time to invest in learning proper OBS or Streamlabs so you can possibly multicast. I can multicast, but I used to do Twitch, but no one ever went. But X might be a good idea. And I've got an Odyssey account. I think I've got a Rumble account. You can do all of them in one hit, can you? Okay. all right, I'll have to put the time in and learn OBS. I mean, it's weird because, you know, I'm fully up to date with all the latest AI software, but the software I use every day, why don't I get on it? Anyway, people, I apologise if you feel like I'm dragging. There's 82 people here. When we get to like 95, I'll get into the guts of this. Nice one, Skin. That's Machano Kuprajituti, and thanks for the encouragement. I will do that. Because, look, just from a reality perspective, putting that QR code the other day, you know, I've got free donations on it. And as grotty as it is, it's important to me that I earn some money. I'm fucking Bressic. And just not being able to do it is stupid. Thank you, Skin. I mean, most people use OBS to stream with, so there obviously is a way of learning how to use it. Much appreciated, mate. Right, I'm going to open up that. I'll tell you what, people, I have got some things that you might find interesting about this little thing. I'll just wait for some other people to rock up. If they don't rock up, I'll just kick into it. Anyway, yeah, it's a classic mother's one, isn't it? What makes you think all those yogurts? I'd usually say to her, what yogurts? There's none left. Anyway, at $3.50 a pop, it turns out, has anyone here made yogurt? Yeah, 85. I'll just finish the yogurt story. Hang on, someone's trying to break into my house. Darling? Oh, thank fuck. I thought you were in bedroom. I thought I was going to have to get busy then. We got a little like flap on the front door, like a metal thing. I could hear it, like someone's trying to get in. Got my brass knuckles on a bit of string hanging by the door. Imagine forgetting them, taking them off the string. Come on in. But it's my girlfriend. Anyway, let me know if you've made yogurt. Made yogurt. Go on, I'll bowl them, you bat them. Apparently, according to the internet, you get the yogurt that you've bought, a couple of spoonfuls in a bowl of milk, leave it for a few days, pour it through cheesecloth, put it in the fridge, and you've got like 3 litres of yogurt. I bet it tastes fucking awful as well. So that's what I'll be throwing away after Pax Max gets here, because I told him to bring me some, he suggested he'd bring some things. So I've got some cheesecloth coming and a food thermometer, because in the province have little barbecues, and you know when all that red stuff's coming out of the cold bit in the middle of a bit of beef. Here we go, we got the numbers, a few more hellos. Hello Toffee, good to see you. Hello E for Elephant, absolutely lovely. Honey Monster says yogurt makes your penis shrink and invert. Well, that's probably why it's only 9 inches long. Will it get more yogurt? No yogurt without there you go, that's my biography. Speaking of which, I wrote yeah, lovely, let it in.
Stream outside.
Okay, no, I can't stream outside. Imagine I could put my table on the balcony. I wrote 3 blogs today, and the amount of AI that I use, if it's for work, the amount of AI I used in every aspect of the production of those blogs was ridiculous. It took me about 25 minutes to what would usually have taken about 4 or 5 hours, and the quality is far superior and fully optimized for SEO. It's madness. Right, here we go then. Let's get into this. Hello, Lulu. It's party time. Okay, look, we just hit 100 as I said that. Hoyt to all of you. It was lovely to see so many of you in Dave's Waffle House yesterday. I woke up in the middle of the night. It's just too late for me. I woke up about 4:20. Yeah. And I had a wazzle, and I said hello, and loads of people said hello. Packer said something about me ruining his show for him. I sent Packer an invite, but he's obviously busy. Right, so from the outset, Russell Brand is innocent until proven guilty. Stand by that. So on the video I made, very interesting to see all your comments. Well, the first interesting thing is I made my video about 30 minutes after the news had broken, because I'm connected in a way to this. People I know find out these things. And I made that video. The title is Russell Brand charged with thingy. The description was exactly how it should be so that YouTube likes it. Quality thumbnail. And you try and find my video when you search for the title of my video. YouTube's a con man. Like I found it on about page 9, like ones that were uploaded 5-6 hours after mine. But there you go. So one of the things a lot of people said is, why has it taken 20 odd years to come out, right? It sounds like a bit of a smear. It sounds like a stitch up. A lot of people say no one mentioned any of this when he was a leftist fool, which he, without a doubt, he was a leftist. But, now he's on the right. I mean, I'd argue if he is actually on the right, he's further right than he was, but I'd hardly call him a dissident. Certainly not a nationalist. But, he's right at the most. If more people were as right as Russell Brand, it would be a lot better place to live. So why would that be? It looks like as soon as he started speaking truth to power and promoting Christianity, it looks like they've jumped on him. Remember what happened with Jimmy Savile? Do you remember what happened with Jimmy Savile? How did he get away with it for years? Because he did. He got away with it for years. And most of you will know, and certainly most of the people who made that comment, I understand making that comment. I'd think that as well. But why did Jimmy Savile get away with what he got away with for years? With apparently people in the BBC knowing, is management and agents knowing, people knowing. Well, because Jimmy Savile was a cash cow. He was a celebrity. He was a cash cow. And also, it's kind of embarrassing after you protect someone once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. You kind of put yourself in a bit of position where you're like, well, hang on a minute. If this comes out now, we covered things up. We got people to sign non-disclosure agreements, NDAs. We paid people off. We shut people up. So, you do a couple of them and it's just like, who cares? But then, so you could argue that he was protected. He was protected by his management, his agent. He was managed by John Noel Associates. And John Noel Associates pretty much run UK TV and celebrity management. I mean, let's have a look and see who they've got on their books. And this is relevant. This is absolutely relevant. And John Noel spoke today about this. We'll have a look at that as well. Here we go, John Noel Management. Let's have a look at the little video. Sorry, I haven't got this stuff prepared, but I had to take the pins out. And, that's like a 5-hour job. Where is it? There we go. It's a bit difficult because, we'll get that. I'll get that one up. We need that one. So I am suggesting, based on hearsay, not evidence, based on hearsay, that he was protected for the majority of the last sort of 25, 20 years. And that's not only my opinion. Now, it is only opinion, but, if you don't know people, I was a comedian in the UK for about 10 years. I'd done telly and radio, and not a lot, very little. But, I was a successful comic. I'd get £1,000 for a gig. Not as successful as Russell Brand, obviously, but let's find the one where his agent talks out. And I've got some other things to say about that. Here we go. I've got it. I've got to say that I learned as a comedian as well, and the people around me in the UK comedy scene and what they think about Russell. And we'll get to that in a minute. So this is fucking hell, shut the door off. Sorry about that. This is John Noel. It's Russell Brand's former manager, and this is what he's got to say.
allegations at
Very
all?
surprised.
You are. When did you part company with Russell Brand?
It's around 2014.
Did you know anything about these allegations
No.
at all at the time?
Not at all. And I can't make a comment about it for legal. You know that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, of course.
you know, you can doorstep me all you want. And there's not much I can say at the moment.
Did anyone approach you?
Sorry?
Did anyone come to you? Did anyone
No.
approach you?
I've never had any complaints about it, other than turning up late. Yeah, that kind of thing. Standard stuff in our business. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Are you surprised with Alex?
I don't believe that. I'm not accusing him of lying, but I find that hard to believe that he's never had complaints about Russell Brand's behaviour. Again, I find it hard to believe. That doesn't mean it's true. I've got to be careful here, people. I find that hard to believe simply because what I know, there's things I know that I can't tell you, but I'm also not trying to use those as like, I don't know things that make Russell Brand guilty of these crimes, by the way. But the idea that no one, like I've got friends who are still continually approached by the press. Like he got an email from the Mirror the other day. Do you want to talk to us about your experience with Russell Brand? To this day, this goes on. The idea that they never approached someone, maybe not the boss, John Knoll, but he knew. I can't say that, actually. I think it seems very unlikely that he never knew any. I understand why he's got to say that, but and now I'll cut to the next bit. In the UK comedy circuit, and I was performing at the heart of Russell's celebrity, right? And the gossip, and it's hearsay. The women are terrified of him. Absolutely. He's got a terrible reputation among female comics. Now, I might have, it's hard to say what your reputation is. I mean, I don't think I have. I had plenty of female friends on the UK comedy scene. I mean, what's that feminist, that Danish feminist said I was the best comedian she'd ever seen? That was before she drank the Kool-Aid. I bet she regrets that. But there's stories abound. Again, it's hearsay, but stories abound of violence and sexual violence. Should you believe them? No. Okay, I've got to be a bit careful. No, you shouldn't. But he hasn't got a good reputation among female comedians, and he hasn't got a great reputation amongst male comedians. Does that make him guilty of these crimes? Obviously not. It's hearsay. That won't stand up in court. But I really want you to understand this idea of why he may have been protected, because people do protect people. That's part of what a manager does. If you're under some kind of management, what do you think managers do? They negotiate contracts, right? They manage you. If you wake up in the morning, you're absolutely shit-faced in, some journalist bedroom with a fucking riding crop stuck up your nose and blood coming out of the other nostril, you get on the phone to your manager. I need help. And they do their bit to spin other stories about you and clear that mess up with potentially getting people to sign NDAs and potentially getting them to sign, and pay off people, all sorts of things like that. There's another institution that it's an anonymous institution, but there's certain people that have got quite a bad reputation in that anonymous institution as well. Now, Russell's never made a secret that he's part of that anonymous institution, so I'm not breaking anyone's anonymity. Like, fuck it, you know what I'm talking about. But especially amongst the women. Does any of that make him guilty of these 4 sexual offences? Of course not. But you start to see that you start to understand why these cases, may have not come to light. You also start to see that it kind of makes sense if you're sitting on a load of skeletons in your closet. Maybe become a Christian, maybe get on side of the people that will absolutely stand by the idea that this is a corrupt UK government, which it is, and they're just trying to silence you. I mean, it's the ideal cover. And a friend of mine who was once very close with Russell, and he's one of my best mates, I've only got two, he said this years ago, when that Dispatches documentary come out originally, I said to my mate, what do you think how's this gonna go? And he said, I think, and you know, again, this is just thoughts. He said, I think Russell will do his best to spin it as a smear campaign because he's speaking truth to power. Lo and behold, let's have a look at Russell's video because it's kind of interesting. So he released this. Let's find the original video. I mean, I do. If he's innocent, which he is at the moment until proven guilty, what a terrible time. What an awful thing to happen, especially the wife and 3 kids. I mean, you don't really get a chance to live private. You know, one of the sacrifices of being a celebrity is your private life is kind of over. It doesn't matter how much money you've got. The more isolated you try and make yourself, the more visible you are. You know, oh look, let's get out of New York City. Let's go and live in that little square box in the middle of the desert where everyone can see you because you're not blending into a crowd. So here we go. This was uploaded yesterday, about 3 hours after the news broke, if I remember rightly, on Russell's channel. It's a short, but there's some really interesting language used here. So let's have a listen to this. I don't know if you can still hear me, but that is a buffertron. I can't believe it. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. I've got the little thing, my internet thing. Hello, people. Sorry about that. I had a bit of outage. It might happen again. I'm getting a warning. I'm telling you, it's the Illuminati. They're on me. Right. Hello, John. How are you, son? Hello, Fitzy Kaza. Yeah, let's have a look at this video. I'll do it again because I forgot to put the audio on. Lovely to see 144 people in here. Feel free to donate anytime at your leisure. Here we go. Russell B. This is, come on. Right, here we go.
Hello. Firstly, thank you for these incredible and overwhelming messages of support.
Just to interrupt there are thousands, absolutely thousands of messages of support. The people who follow him, obviously, largely in support of him. And I think he should have support from the people who follow him. That just kind of makes sense. But check out this very strange, I mean, his head is changing shape a bit as he gets older, but that's by the by. Listen to the language here.
We're very fortunate in a way to live in a time where there's so little trust in the British government.
We're very fortunate. Now, let's be honest, we're not fortunate to live in a time when there's very little trust in the British government. It's a terrible thing. But it's interesting how it's we. Listen, he'll say it twice. We. Listen.
Hello. Firstly, thank you for these incredible and overwhelming messages of support. We're very fortunate in a way to live in a time where there's so little trust in the British government. We're very fortunate, I suppose, that this is...
We're very fortunate. We're not.
Happening at a time where we know that the law has become a kind of weapon to be used against people, institutions, and sometimes entire nations that will not accept and tolerate levels of corruption that are unprecedented. I'm speaking particularly to those of you that are watching this in the UK. How do you feel about your legal system?
So it's kind of interesting and not that surprising, tapping into the dissident rights suspicion of the UK government. I get that. But That's the opener. You know, we're lucky really that everyone's suspicious. No, you're lucky. You're lucky that most of your viewers are suspicious of the UK government, and they are, and rightly so. I've got absolutely no faith in the British government or their legal system. I mean, look at Tommy Robinson. It's an absolute travesty, one of many.
Right now, how do you feel about some of the high-profile cases that are not being pursued and prosecuted? How do you feel that the Southport murders were handled?
So the high-profile cases that aren't being pursued and prosecuted, we all know what he's referring to there. I mean, jumping on the sort of emotions surrounding all of that sort of stuff and associating with it, you know, you'll do that if you're innocent, of course. So I'm not grabbing on that, but it's you know, I'd like to think if this was me, I'd come on. It's hard to say, and thankfully it isn't. Hopefully it never is. You know, I'm not reveling in this bloke's problems. I'm not at all. It's just kind of interesting that I suggested something like this might happen years ago. And I suggested that not because of a corrupt government.
Handled. How do you feel about the government of Keir Starmer?
I think they're awful. Okay.
Now, that's just sort of general context.
I mean, that's just sort of general context. No, it's not actually. It's almost fallacious because you're tapping into people's emotions about the grooming scandals. You're tapping into people's emotions about the corrupt UK government and Keir Starmer and his people in general. Okay, no one likes them. We don't trust them. And then
I've always told you guys that when I was young and single, before I had my wife and family, we're just out of shot over there, my beautiful children, I was a fool, man. I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord. I was a drug addict, a sex addict, and an imbecile. But what I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes.
I mean, what? I pray that, well, you can pray as much as you want, but that's absurd. And it's certainly not going to cut it in court, but I don't know. I
want to thank all of you for your continuing support. I want to thank all of you for please continue to support me, which is understandable. Let you know that our show will be on Rumble on Monday. Thanks.
That will be his busiest show ever. It will be Ether Elephant said still on his gap year. Dennis says cult vibes. Ashley Styles says, I was a drug addict. I had an amazing career and these pricks took it all. And Mousecat says, look into the eyes and not around the eyes. That's a great call. Mr. Paul says, cringe level at 11. I mean, it is difficult, though. What do you say? What would you say in such a situation?
For your support there. And, of course, I'm now going to have the opportunity to defend these charges in court, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. In the meantime, you lot, stay free. And we will be continuing to discuss this matter. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord indeed. Now I wanna bring something else to the party here. And again, just in case you weren't at the beginning, I'm not saying Russell Brand's guilty. He's innocent. He's innocent until proven guilty. We're talking about a very, very high profile case. I mean, Russell Brand is about to become more famous than he's ever been in a way, because this won't only involve Russell Brand fans, past and present, but it's now going to be involving people interested in just general celebrity. It's going to involve people who believe that governments are corrupt and they're trying to silence people. So this is next level even for Russell Brand, who was one of the most famous, but certainly in England, and he kind of took America by storm as well. Now, the Crown Prosecution Service are aware of that. You know, they're not stupid. They know that this story is going to be in all the papers. I'm old. If you don't know, years ago, you'd have to buy the news used to be printed onto sheets of paper. But they know that they know the eyes of the world, certainly the Western world, are going to be on this. Like I said, I was looking for my YouTube channel yesterday, and there was 9 pages of videos about it. about 50 minutes after the news was released. And if you think about it, it takes half hour to make a video, upload it, thumbnail, all that luck. So the CPS know that this is high profile. Now ask yourself this: do you think the Crown Prosecution Service would this publicly charge someone? They've charged him. We think what they're saying by charging him, we think we've got enough evidence based on our legal people at the CPS, you know, some of the best legal minds in the country. We think we've got enough evidence and we've done a thorough enough investigation to win this case, to prosecute you and imprison you for 4 counts of sexual assault, including rape and oral rape. Don't know what that. Well, I sort of do know what it is. I just don't want to know. They obviously think they're going to win this, and it's not like they've called Saul and they've got some sort of back alley lawyer going, "We could give it a go. Maybe I'll break down when cross-examined." You know, these are the top legal minds of the UK, supposedly. Maybe you'd expect them to be, what, the Crown Prosecution Service. So they think they've got the evidence. They would have gone to people and say, "Look, we've got this, we've got this, we've got this, we've got this." And the people at the CPS would have said, "What you need to win this case is this, 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 and this." And they would have got all that, because this is going to cost millions of taxpayer pounds. It don't sound the same as dollars, does it? Millions of taxpayer sterling. Are they going to take that? Are they going to take that loss in public? Are they going to take that hit? Spending all that money, dragging a bloke away from his wife and kids, telling the world that they think he done these awful things, if they didn't think they had a rock solid case. You know, they would have considered the potential pitfalls in their case. And if there were any weak points, a case is as strong as its weakest link. And if any potential pitfalls are there, they wouldn't have done it. This investigation has gone on since that dispatches thing. Remember when Channel 4 come out? It was a bit of a damp squib, really. They said, "Oh, we've got evidence that Brand done this and Brand done that." Turned out they didn't have evidence. They just had some people saying. So they must have more than that. It turns out that those 4 cases were reported at the time. This is conjecture because we don't know. But what I'm thinking is these women went to the police. They explained what happened. They were tested. DNA was taken. And then the police were probably like, and again, this is conjecture. Let me know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to like the stream, people. It'd be much appreciated. The police were probably like, "Right, listen. So yes, we found Mr. B's." That doesn't sound good. We found Mr. B's DNA here and here and here. We got photos of some red marks. Blah blah blah. However, it's still his word against yours at this stage. He's also very famous and very rich. He's going to get a legal team that will make your duty solicitor just tremble in his Russell and Bromley shoes. You're going to be dragged through the courts, through the media, through the internet. Millions of fans are going to make your and your family's life hell. Do you want to do this? And the first girl is going to say, "Hello, Peter Benton." She's not going to say that. I just wanted to say hello, Peter Benton. The first girl is going to be like, "No." And then another one comes along, same story, and then another one, and then another one. But now there's a pattern forming. Now there's potentially DNA evidence across 4 people. Is that enough? That doesn't sound like a very strong case, because it's still their words against his. I think they've got something else. I think they might have some concrete evidence, a video, some texts. There might be other women prepared to testify. I don't know, but does that sound like a strong case to you? Just, old evidence. If you've just got here, I'll repeat this bit. The reason I feel like this stuff didn't come out over the last 20 years because potentially Russell was being protected by management and all the people that kind of knew what was going on but preferred to take the money rather than the reality. So that's pretty much it. I mean, there are stories I could tell you, but I can't risk it. I don't want to get, because they're just stories. Do I believe them wholeheartedly? Then this isn't 6 degrees of separation. This is 1 degree. This was Russell speaking to this person speaking to me, and not just one either. I'm talking about 4 or 5 different people who I know. It's just me, them, Russell, and not people that he bumped into on the street either. People that he spent years with in very personal relationships, men and women. Hello, Philip. Philip is actually in the legal profession. Mr. B needs to keep stum. Yes, say nothing. He's going live on Rumble on Monday. I mean, is he getting legal advice for this? I would have thought at this point, like, I mean, I'm not obviously not a legal professional, but just shut up at this point. Shut it. He says Mr. B needs to keep stum. The job of the prosecution is to prove wrongdoing. Yeah. Why give them more material? Why risks? Just you know, I improvise as a content maker. I don't script these. Can you tell? I just come on and start gabbing. But if it was about something where I was going to have to appear at the Old Bailey for or something, I would be well off the internet. I'd be deleting everything. Dave's Waffle House. Hello, mate. Roll. Check out Dave's Waffle House, people. Best YouTube channel on the internet if you're brain damaged and stoned, or stoned and not brain damaged. It's great stuff. Nice one, Dave. Hoyt to you, son. That was very kind what you said yesterday. I'd stay in your streams, but it's like 4:30 here, 4:20. You know what I mean? Cheers, Dave. Appreciate Canuti. JP dropped one in as well. Brand done that. Okay. Cheers, John. That's what I think. There's a very, very good chance that, because he's not managed by the same people. The idea that they didn't know what was going on, if what I've been told did happen, is, you know, when I'll give you an example. Obviously, as a stand-up, I'd get compared to Russell Brand. If you type into Google Chris Dangerfield comedian reviews, you'll find reviews usually 5 out of 5 stars, you know, 9 out of 10, all that. A couple of 2 out of 5s, and continually it'll be like the obvious comparison is Russell Brand, same accent, stories about drugs and sex. So, you know, after a show, I'd chat to audience and that, and other comedians, and the amount of times that someone would say, "You're very much in the sort of same sort of mold as Russell Brand," and then female comedians would go, "Well, let's hope not, eh?" And then it just be this weird why, and they go, "Yeah, less we say about the better." Just gossip, just hearsay, but every single time, you know, every time. Still hearsay, still gossip. No, I tell you why, Toffee, and this I mean, I know you're making jokes as much as you also want me to. The problem is, I also don't think it's fair on Russell Brand, because not that I'd have that kind of impact, but the people I'm talking about are choosing not to speak about these things, and is it my place to talk about them? I will say this. My heart's beating. I will say this. It's not a new format. Hello, Charlie. It's not a new format. It's me not knowing how to. StreamYard have deliberately made the free version shit, essentially, Move the Edge. So now I have to put up with this. I will say this. Based on what I know and the trust I have for the people who've told me, if I had to bet on it, I would bet on it, without a doubt. All the money I had as well. I'm not quite sure whether that means. Neil Christie, the grift is going, people. We're on a bit of a roll. Destroy Mark Collett and you'll get away with it. Oi, you'll have to let me know in the chat. I missed all that. A couple of people in my video left comments like, oi, Mark Collett wants his money back or something like that. Can you let me know in the chat what happened with Brandon Collett? Oh, God, of course. The old teenage Nazi, wasn't it? That's right. Oh, sorry. So people, if you don't know, Russell Brand, in the early days of his fame, done a video, I think it was called Teenage Nazi, and it was Mark Collett when he was about 17. It is quite shocking for Mark, but not because of what he says, but because he was a child. I mean, you know, you wouldn't believe how happy I am that the internet and phone cameras weren't a thing when I was 18, 19. You know, I was at art school with dreadlocks and with a tailcoat on with words painted on the back. I think it had, "Don't panic, it's only samsaric," which comes from Buddhist scripture to mean the illusory real world. It's cringe. I done a lot of acid and speed and booze and the thought of there being there is some footage of me at art school, but as if anyone's going to find that in someone's attic from like 1989. But yeah, what a shocker. So yeah, that thing, Teenage Nazi or whatever it's called, Mark comes across like a drunk, because they do drink in it, like a drunk, angry young man, because he was, and understandably, because most of us were. And that's that. Nice one, Neil. I can't believe I'd forgot that. Oh, I can't believe I remembered it. Robin Wheeler says, Brussels. Strangely funny. Let me just have a look. What is happening with Entropy? Those people at Entropy, I don't know what they're playing at. Let's have a look over here. But if anyone wants to come on and discuss this with me, you're more than welcome. Pete, we are on a roll. The grift is on. Pete2778 says, good to see you again, Chris. You called it years ago. I certainly did suggest that there are certain skeletons that might come to the forefront. And man, am I regretting that now. Like one of my best friends may well get subpoenaed. And that's the last thing he wants. It's the last thing he wants, because he spent 20 years shedding that skin, that brand got him involved in an absolute mess that in many ways, well, it didn't ruin his career, but it certainly set his career on a different tangent to the one it was going. The one it was going, he was on television regularly, he was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, regular radio show, and then nothing from the authorities, nothing. Now he does very small rooms all around the world because of what happened. Russell apologized to him once. Said he was apologizing for himself. I understand that is it step 9 or step 10? We made amends to those we had harmed. Hang on, let's find it. Yeah, 10th step. No, it's step 9. Yeah, badly. Yeah, step 9 of Narcotics Anonymous. Thank you, Pete. It's really appreciated. The grift has been shocking for the last 4 years. We made direct amends to such people, right? Because step 8 is something like we made a list of people we'd harmed and we became willing to make amends. So first of all, you make a list and become willing to make amends. It's a lovely step, really. If you were an arsehole in the past, first of all, make a list of all the people that you were an arsehole to. Not stupid little things, but most people who use a lot of drugs are an arsehole. I certainly have been. Not to this extent. And then step 9 is we've made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. So our friend Mr. Brand done that. But one of the things about forgiveness in the 12-step fellowship, they they often stress that forgiving someone is for you, not them, which is kind of weird, you know. And like, I've often said to my friends who hold resentments over their fathers or something, I say, listen, just forgive them so you can forget about it, you can let it go. And they're like, I'm fucked if I'm ever going to forgive that horrible old bastard. I go, look, you forgive them so that you can move on. It's not really about them. However, it does seem slightly manipulative to tell someone, I mean, this may or may not have happened in this case, to tell someone to meet you in a room in a hotel, turn up, start saying, I am sorry about what happened. And you're like, okay. And then they say, I mean, this is more for me than you. It makes me think of the Dark Triad of psychology. If you're not aware of that, it's Machiavellianism, so a propensity to manipulate people to get your needs met by them. So that's the first one, Machiavellianism. Narcissism, we've all got a touch of narcissism, that's fine. But when you outright use other people to fulfill your needs with next to no care of how it affects them, you've got a problem. People get really hurt from those kinds of narcissists. So Machiavellianism, narcissism, and then psychopathy, which I don't really, obviously psychopathy doesn't mean you go around with a chainsaw. It can, it can, but it doesn't always. I mean, some psychopaths go through life without hurting anyone. I mean, you can express psychopathy in business. A lot of CEOs are psychopaths, but, you know, they kind of regulate it to work for them. Get those three together, though. Modern psychology refers to it as the Dark Triad because, you know, and I know people like that. And if you can identify those three character traits in someone, run in the other direction as fast as possible. And the thing about them is, and does this remind you of anyone? Very charming, very exceptionally charming, in fact. Almost to the point where they can be taking the piss out of you and banging your missus. And you're like, because you're almost spellbound from their endless sort of like spells, like they're casting spells the way they talk. Dangerous, really dangerous. And the way you'll spot them is when you say no, when you question them, when you sort of say, no, actually, you've reached a limit there, and I've got boundaries. They go fucking insane. They don't like it. And I was speaking to someone just yesterday who was a very, very close friend of the man in question, and he said to me, the thing about him, this is hearsay, this is nothing to do with the case or court. He said, the thing about Russell is he must get what he wants. He must get what he wants. And he also said that when they were touring, he said there was like queues of women after shows just wanting to bang him. Queues of them. And it's kind of interesting psychologically, if you're in a position where you don't struggle to obtain sexual gratification, it almost takes the edge off of what you can get from actually engaging. I mean, the game's over, the job's done. You know, the sort of the fun of seduction, the chase. You know, we all know, certainly older people, that in life it's often the journey rather than the destination that we enjoy. Anyone here who's had a drug problem will tell you the 4 or 5 hours trying to find your drug of choice or whatever is often certainly more medicating, which is an odd thing to say, and definitely more distracting, which is what effectively your drug use is about anyway, but also frequently more interesting than actually scoring. You know, that just the sort of the anticipation and, and all the things that go on. And, you're not thinking about the realities of life because you've got this mission and this task. And when you actually get home and pop it on a foil or put it in a pipe or stick it in a spike and have it, it's like, back to life. So if you take all of that out of the sort of the millennia-old interplay of seduction and I can't have that and actually I might be in here and it's all good fun and that whole thing's exciting and interesting, but when it's on tap, it's almost like you'd need to find something that was challenging. How do you fulfill that very basic, certainly male instinct to seduce when you no longer need to seduce? Now, I'm not suggesting psychologically the next step is non-consensual sex, but I'm also not suggesting that. Nice one, Pete. Really appreciated. I mean, he is a weird one, but that's a good thing, isn't it? I like weird people. I like eccentrics. I think English eccentrics have historically been part of what makes England so interesting. It's just a shame that this stuff seems to keep coming up. Sean, it was a TV show called something like Teenage Nazi. Hello, Latus. That's right. Oh, sorry, because I forgot, didn't I? That's why people are answering. Loads of comments. I obviously can't read them all. Well, I can, but it wouldn't be very interesting. 178 people. Could you like the stream, people? It helps out, and trust me, this channel needs it. Brad says, "Why is the Dark Triad real?" Well, it depends what you mean by real, Brad. But I've certainly managed to see those three character traits in people. It seems quite a common one. So, people have many character traits, don't they? You can see different traits in many people, but when you see those three, it often doesn't turn out well. Did you see the people? Brad has got a Substack, by the way. This Brad here, Brad James, has got a Substack. So go check that out. All right, where are we going? Oh, it's interesting. It looks like a few people know about the old Dark Triad. Yeah, exactly that, Dennis. I mean, I remember that, certainly at art school. I mean, I certainly had to put the work in because I wasn't a massive celebrity megastar. But I was quite lucky that I was quite good at pulling birds. But in the bar, putting in a couple of hours chat and laughter and watching them slowly sort of come on side, and you think, hang on, am I in? And you're working it. You're doing what men have done for millennia since we were like little single cells, like in a chemical soup, thinking, would you like to rub next to me and maybe cause some protons to multiply? Biologically incorrect, but you get my point. And then at the end of the night, I'd be like, well, do you want to come back to mine then? I'd think, bingo. And then when I got there, I preferred to carry on talking most of the time because that was fun. And when we ended up at it, frequently I think this feels a little bit like going through the motions. Not always. When they were super hot, it felt like going through the motions. But a lot of the time I was like, I'm not even sure she's too into this. I'm not into it. I'd have preferred to stay up all night gabbing most of the time. So yeah, if you take all of that out, it leaves you a little bit, in a way, impotent. In a way, obviously. Exactly that. There you go. They're off for like still dreams about scoring, not doing. Oh, let me know in the chat if you've got a history of drug use that society will call addiction. Do you have dreams where you score but can't seem to use it? The amount of times I've had a dream where I've got like a massive rock of crack or lump of brown or something, and even if I get it in a spike or get it in a pipe, it keeps falling off or something, or the wind blows, or it just, I can't use it. Freud will have you know that dreams are wish fulfillments. I know a lot of people struggle with that when dreams are terrifying or someone they love dies in a dream and things like that. But you've got to remember, dreams are also distorted by your thinking process, so that so that you're not getting the full picture. You're not getting a clear version of events because it's considered that you can't hack it. So that's why dream interpretation is a thing. You have to kind of work out what these signs mean. Also, most other people in dreams tend to just be representations of aspects of your character and or memories, if you buy the kind of orthodox Freudian angle. But yeah, so maybe the wish is here that you never actually used anything. Hard to say. Philip, who, like I said, is on the legal side of things, he says, in my practice, I meet people who fully exemplify the Dark Triad trait. I'm guessing, Philip, you're talking about who work in the legal profession rather than punters. Yeah, I think certainly psychopathy and Machiavellianism lends itself to certainly like prosecution. John Palmer, you still got your old X link in the description. Why you change it? Okay, nice one, Jay. Because Junkie Writes is cringe as fuck. It was one of those things where I needed to make a new account, and you've got to come up with a name, and but I don't really want Junkie in my X name. I think Flaneur Writes, while also being exceptionally cringe, is not quite as cringe, but nice one for that, Jay, and I'll get that changed. Thanks for going through there. No doubt you're looking for the buy me a coffee feature to get your special video. No. Hello, Eleanor. Didn't know you were about. Nice to see you. Glenn says wisdom, which is nice. Hello, Bad Nurse. Are you new in these parts? Nice to see you. Or maybe you're not, because you're saying hello to plenty of people, unless they're just saying hello to you, which is a lovely thing. People, if you are new around here, we do streams like this. I've been doing these for about 8 or 9 years. Most people here know each other. Cracking community, loads of support, loads of in real life assistance and friendships as well. You don't have to agree with anything anyone or me says. Just be friendly and be honest, and you'll get on fine. I don't have a regular schedule. I stream whenever I can, but I try and make as many videos as possible. That's it. The truth will set you free. The Mark Collett. Let's have a look at a bit. I bet Mark will be. If you're watching, Mark, sorry. Young, Nazi, and proud. So remember, oh, poor old Mark. I bet he's so not into this. So this is a documentary. I mean, let's not forget though. I mean, I'm friends with Mark. I respect Mark a lot. He was, I think he was the publicity person for. Let me know in the chat, people. I can't remember what they were called. They got a seat on the Isle of Dogs, didn't they? The BNP. Do you remember the BNP? They started actually making waves in British politics in a time when you just thought that wouldn't happen. And I think Mark was their public relations officer. He was only like about 19 or something. And it was when old stupid features went on Question Time, didn't he? Nick Griffin, who was then the sort of leader of the BNP, went on Question Time, and it was awful. It was terrible. I tell you now, if they'd have let Mark go on Question Time then, the history of England may have been very, very different. So let's have a little look at it. Brad James drops a Lady Godiva. He says, I strongly object to your hijacking of Packers stream. Yeah. He said something about that in Dave's Waffle House yesterday. He said that I don't stop talking or something on his stream. Cheers, Brad. Hoy to that. Much appreciated. Don't forget, Brad has got a Substack, people. If you get over there, definitely worth a look. He wrote a recent article about Cockneys and the old Mockneys as well. Definitely worth a look. Mr. Paul, it would appear I missed that one. You once hinted that Jimmy Page might be naughty. I regretted opening that can of worms because he's not so public about his anonymity. So, yeah. No, not in that way. I know absolutely nothing about Jimmy Page in relation to what we're talking about today. And that's a fact. Nice one, Mr. Paul. The Truth Will Set You Free has been on the firm for 50 months. Nice one, Truth Will Set You Free. Those memberships, they're a lifesaver. Like, literally gets to the end of the month when I'm starving and a couple of $100 from YouTube lands in the bank. It's like, yay, I can take the missus out for a corn on the cob. Cheers, Brad. Cheers, Paul. And cheers, The Truth Will Set You Free. Ra of Sunshine, the grift is on, people. A little love, my friend. Thank you, Ra. Long time no see. Haven't seen you in the chat. Amazing to know you're here. I'll tell you what, people. I see English Loyalist on Twitter the other day was liking a couple of my posts. If you don't know, people, we used to have someone over here, an actual Navajo, a legit Navajo Indian whose name here and on X was English Loyalist. He's absolutely fascinated with and loves English traditions. What an interesting fella. Nice bloke as well. It's funny, isn't it? You hear all the bullshit from the left about the original settlers of America, or the natives of America, and what they think about us, and then you've got this fellow who's, no, I'm an English Loyalist. Great. Good, lovely. Right, let's have a little look at Mark. It's a little. I know we're going a little bit off topic, but we are still watching Russell. It was a terrible documentary, a hit piece essentially, and even though it was a hit piece, Mark didn't come off as bad as I think they thought he did.
Dispatches the new face of the far right. His party claims to have shed its fascist past. Now it's winning unprecedented support. But what does the rising star of the British National Party really think? Young British National Party. Over the next 6 months,
is it really necessary to show the geezer eating? This is, it's so cheap. What, this bloke sitting eating a hamburger? Ugh. This is a class thing. If this geezer was like from the bourgeoisie, yeah, sure, he'd be in a nice Mayfair restaurant, but he's skint. He's not just young Nazi and proud. He's young Nazi, proud and broke.
Know him intimately.
Don't film me eating.
In a party.
Absolutely a fair point. Don't film him eating. He's let you come into his life. I mean, yeah, exactly that, John. I'll tell you what, Mark's absolutely endless dedication to what he believes in is something to respect, regardless what you think about his politics. The bloke will help anyone out if they need it. If you ask him for help, he'll do whatever he can to help you because he believes in his people. He's got a family. Without a doubt, he's sacrificed so much. I mean, imagine being him. And yet he doesn't stop. He just keeps going. I can call Mark and he'll answer the phone. And he's always like, how are you? What's going on? He defended me on the dissident right when everyone was, well, not everyone, but all that 37 crowd were just endlessly digging me out. He put up a post like, we believe Chris Dangerfield is a net positive for the dissident right and we support him. Oh, lovely thing to do. Didn't have to. Absolutely didn't have to. Nice one, Chris. Here we go. A bit more of this.
He's notoriously wary of the media. Mark has agreed to let me follow him.
Which ward is this we're going to? This is Eccles Hill ward.
Hang on, this young Nazi and proud is Dispatches. This isn't the Russell Brand one. Does anyone know what the Russell Brand one is called?
It's a few days before local elections. As one of the party's best and brightest, Mark's busy helping local branches with their campaigns. Today, he's leading a team of canvassers on the Ravenscliffe estate in Bradford.
If anyone says they're not voting to you, though, ask why. If the answer is all political parties are the same and they've let you down, then simply say to them, we're different, and explain the differences that the BNP will give to them and that we actually do care for local people rather than wanting to give all our money to the Asians.
And it's an absolutely fair point. I'm not going to watch any more of this because what I'm effectively doing is playing anti-white propaganda on my channel, which I don't know if that actually helps anyone, to be honest with you. Yeah, he's been at it for decades, man. I mean, you've got to respect it. That's it, JP. That's the one. Again, I don't want to play a lot of it, but it'll be interesting to see Brand being an arsehole, if nothing else. Livy drops a score on the door. Boom. Livy. Livy. There you go, Livy. I promise never to do that again if you donate again. I can't promise anything, to be fair. Here we go. That's amazing, Livy. Thank you, love. I'll tell you what, people. I'm going to say something ridiculous now. Really, so lovely to see 170 people here, and that's been standard for the last 30 minutes. So most of you will know I'm a Mrs. my girlfriend, my fiance, is building a house out in the sticks. It's my apocalypse now dream stroke nightmare come true. Wait, today I went for a walk up the riverside, up in the centre of Phnom Penh, right? And I walked down the little bank. Like there's concrete steps that go down, and they just end at the river because people get on boats there and all that, like you would at a river. And there was a few Khmer people sitting around in the grass, and I thought, that would be nice, sun shining all year round. Lovely day. They close the road on the riverside at the weekend, and it's really lovely. There's all market stalls everywhere, like a Khmer farmers market, 1.5 miles long, and it's all natural produce that comes from the province. It's lovely, really. And I went and sat down by the river, and it's a huge river. This is where the Tonle Sap meets the Mekong. The Mekong's one of the longest rivers in Asia. I think China, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand goes for all of them. And so it's a huge stretch, a huge expanse of water, and it's lovely sitting there. I mean, going back to Freud talked about when you sit at the side of the ocean and that sense of eternity and infinity, the oceanic feeling, well, sort of like the oceanic light at a river. You certainly get the idea of a very British thing of travel when you're sitting at a huge expanse of river and there's boats going by, and you suddenly you're in our lives we're very much routine, and we learn these, we get sort of ritualized about our behavior. But when you sit by historic trade routes, you suddenly remember that there's actually nothing stopping you from going. It's quite a thing. Anyway, I'm sitting there, and there's Khmer people sitting in little groups on the grass, right? Much like you would on a riverside in England in the 1870s with a sun umbrella and a wonderful dame. Anyway, I'm about to step off the concrete steps and sit on the grass. Why not? And I literally stepped and sort of, excuse me, I thought, that's not English grass, is it? With some ants, maybe a grasshopper or two. I thought, what's the snake life like down in that grass? It weren't like a lawn. It weren't a fairway at a golf course. It was like a little bit wild. And I thought, sometimes a flying insect will come in my house, and I'll pick up my sandal, and the missus will go, oh no. You make him angry, him bite you, you dead. Right, literally. And I look it up online, and absolutely, there's one form of like giant, it looks like it's got a devil's skull on its head. And if you try and attack that one, and you can look this up, this isn't me just making it up, a little bit of it is. But if you make it angry, it lets off hormones, tells its mates to come and swarm you. Like that, one of them coming once, and I picked it up, and she's just gone, nah, him friends come, them kill you. So I didn't sit on the grass. I spent 40 minutes on the hard, safe as houses, concrete step. Anyway, here we go. Let's have a little. This is from episode 2. Again, I'm not going to play too much of it because why repeat anti-white propaganda? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But it'll be interesting to see a young Russell Brand as well.
Russell, I'm in Leeds. It's just after the Jubilee. We're between the Sweden and Argentina games of the 2002 World Cup. And I'm here to meet Mark Collett, the leader of the Youth BNP, or British National Party, who is a student at Leeds University. Leeds, sort of quite a multi-ethnic.
I went to Leeds University. It was the worst 2 years of my life. Check this out. I am a working class boy. I grew up in working class towns. I studied majority in working class towns. I had more violence in 2 years in Leeds than the rest of my life up until then put together. It was awful. First night I was there, right? First night, I've gone into a boozer. Hang on. How do I do this? Fucking the new setup here. I've gone into a boozer on my first night there, and I thought, well, this is it. Master's degree, Leeds Uni. I'd already realised that Leeds was a shithole. And I've said to the bloke behind the jump, I went, hello, mate, do us a pint of Guinness, please. Just polite, friendly. And a bloke sitting next to me, not a teenager, not like pumped full of youthful testosterone. He was about 40, 45. He heard my accent and he went, what's this? Apples and pears, dog and bone. So I just turned to him and said, yeah. I said, yeah. And I was about to, I don't know, just be polite. I was going to say something like, yeah, it's really standing out up here. But before I got a chance to do that, he just clumped me. Yeah, he knocked me out. First night. And that was very much an example of what was to come. You know, the North-South divide, let me tell you a secret. I mean, it's different now because it's a very different country. But growing up in the southeast of England, no one really spoke about the North-East divide. It wasn't a thing. Southerners didn't think about it. But when you go north, they don't stop talking about it. I remember I had a girlfriend once and loads of money. Do you remember Harry Enfield's breakout character? Loads of money. He used to come on Saturday Night Live, Friday Night Live with Ben Elton, all that lot. He'd be going, loads of money, yeah. And she said to me, Northerners don't get this character. And I didn't understand it at the time, but of course, all that money that flooded into construction, like, you know, friends of my old man was a builder and he had mates who were plasterers and roofers and they were suddenly earning like 500 quid a day in like 1985. That was insane money. I mean, think about it. That's 3.5 grand cash in hand. No, I don't work, governor. I'm unemployed. Insane, but not so much in the north. Anyway, roll VT.
Sort of a town, the student life at university is normally a time for a bit of liberalism, and Mark Collett has taken up the sabre of British nationalism. So, you know, I saw the reason I wanted to meet Mark was because I sort of read an article about
English nationalism, maybe.
him, and he's obviously like an idealistic young man, you know, sort of he's got a strong sort of belief system, and that's admirable, is it? No matter how disgusting his beliefs are, or how much they may repulse like the rest of us. So that's why we're here. Nazi boy. Do, 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 do. Don't think I know any racists. Well, I mean, if I do know any racists, I talk to them about racism or anything.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, the way Brand has changed his ideas for whatever reasons. I wonder, I mean, current story notwithstanding, I wonder what it'd make now of, you know, this sort of idea that Collett's ideas are disgusting, whereas pretty much everything Mark says in this video has come to pass. I wonder, this is what I mean when people are saying it's only since Brand moved to the right and spoke truth to power, but is he really right, or is he milquetoast centrist? I mean, we consider people right these days when they're not left. And I don't know, it would be, in another world, it'd be interesting to ask Russell what he thought of Mark Collett these days. Hello, pay no attention to man behind the curtains. How are you, son? Hello, Otto. It was weird, actually. There's a place in Leeds called Chapeltown. Wow. When I was there, when was I in Leeds? 95, 96, I moved to Leeds. Awful. It looked exactly like that. I mean, that is probably, I mean, it all looks like that. I mean, it's proper red bricks. The houses, listen to this, people. Northerners won't find this in the least bit surprising, but listen to this, Southerners. The houses in Leeds and Manchester and Liverpool, the north, they're like, you know, down south, working class people live in 2 up, 2 downs. In Leeds, I lived in a 3 up, 3 down. Like, you walk in the front door, it's 1 room, that's it. There's not another room behind it. The room behind it is a mirror of your house, but the other road. So you go into your 1 room, there's a little kitchen at the side, and then you go up the stairs, and it takes you to a room on top of that room, and then another one on top of that room, and then a hydroponics setup in the loft. It was weird, man. And also in 95, people still hang their washing up in the across the front of the road, like, you know, with all the diesel and petrol. Honestly, it was so weird. 1 up, 3 downs. What do you call them? Does anyone know? Very strange little affairs. But anyway, roll VT.
I wonder what they're like. I wonder if they take sugar. I wonder if his snot's same colour my snot. Here he is. Security conscious. I don't know what he's afraid of.
Hello, Pizzle. I'll tell you what, you know, Brand just said, oh, he's obviously security conscious. I don't know what he's afraid of. I'll tell you what he's afraid of, because I lived in Hyde Park, the area was. Every street got robbed almost 2 or 3 times a day, right? That's why all the windows and doors have those bars over them. And check out how blatant it is. Your house gets robbed. And then a couple of hours later, when you're sitting in your front room thinking, well, they got my computer. There were no phones in those. Oh, actually, I had a Motorola Flip, one of those Vodafone 1-to-1s. Then they knock on your door and offer to sell you back your own stuff, which obviously you have to do because it's better than having to buy it all again and lose all your documents. When I say computer, I mean electronic typewriter. What was it called? Font writer 400 or something. Yeah, Asians. They rob everyone up there and then sell it back, especially the students. And that's just a reality. Now, is that all Asians? No, obviously not. But it's quite the thing. There's some great chats going on. Toffee just called John Palmer a Victorian chimney sweep. He's too small, Toffee. Anyway, let's see what happens here.
What's he doing in there? Putting out crucifixes, I shouldn't wonder.
Hi.
Hey, you Mark?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Russell.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm grand, man. Nice to meet you.
Come in.
Cheers, guys. So this is your land.
Yeah, take a seat.
Cheers, man. Business and economics you're doing, aren't you?
Business economics, yeah. I just finished today for my last exam.
Cool. So, can I have a little look around the place then with you, mate? Give you a show around.
Sure. Are you going to film?
Yeah, if that's all right with you.
Well,
That's cool.
kitchen.
That is exactly the same pad that I lived in. I mean, come on, let's have a look around your house. It's a shithole because he's a student, as was I.
No need going in there because it's just a mess.
Oh, don't be shy about mess, mate. Yeah, it's just human to make a mess. We all do that.
That's not a human mess.
This is subhuman.
Hang on a minute. Eleanor says, oh my God, rewind the tape. My friend just said 2 or 3 doors up, everyone dried their clothes in there and they keep their bins in there. My mate lived there. Yeah, I think it's every 5 houses, there's a missing house in the terrace and it's just all the bins. Like, now that sounds okay because years ago it would have been a few bins and there would have been a decent refuse system. But now, because all the bins are overflowing and because of all the rodents, it's not just the bins, it's like 3 foot deep in old refuse. They're absolutely disgusting and they stink to high heaven. So let's have a look at Russell go around and laugh at his house. Otto says how old it is. Well, let's work it out. Hang on, I can probably find out actually, as long as the upload's legit. This says 11 years ago, but I think it's older than that. It's got to be. If anyone knows. Pizzle says that in the USA, 9 karat gold isn't considered gold. Oh, I didn't know
The
that.
person that made this mess is less than human, I believe, and should be treated as such. Was this just...
I made the mess.
You live here on your top, do you?
No, I live here with my mate, but I think he's run away with his
Standard
girlfriend.
student
He's finished his
itching.
exams, so I don't know when he's going to be coming back.
You do some boxing, do you?
I used to do kickboxing, not too much at the moment though, because of exams.
Right, we do kickboxing.
You know,
we
there's
thought if
not-
we couldn't talk you out of fascism, we'd just thrash it out of you.
Unlikely. They always pull something naughty out of the bag, don't they?
Really?
Well, somebody does, don't they? I mean, like, look at Mr. Fortune in Holland.
Pin
Was it Holland?
Fortune.
Was it Holland?
Yeah, he was Dutch,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
Bang, you know what I mean?
What, so you
6
think?
times in the head, battered.
Well, so you think it could be a conspiracy, Mark, from the government against?
Well,
far-right
every time.
parties?
Well, every time. Look, the media and the government go hand in hand. Your radical left, your media are basically just tools of the government. Every time we start doing well, the radical left come out and they start screeching from the sidelines, and the media slag us off. Come on, you know what I mean?
Which Russell just said on the video that he released yesterday, essentially.
They claim to be revolutionaries. They're not revolutionaries. They're just stopping popular advance of other parties. That's not very revolutionary, is it? I mean, when Le Pen's just about to go up against the what's his name, Chirac. You know what I mean? You think all the revolutionaries would do the revolutionary thing. Instead, they went and voted for a corrupt Tory boy.
And the French have just banned Marine Le Pen from almost certainly winning the next French election on some ridiculous charge that it turns out everyone does in the EU.
What revolutionary is that? Not very. They just uphold a dying system.
So you believe there's a general conspiracy in favour of the left?
Not a general. I don't say anything about conspiracy. Basically, the corporations and the media have got everything tied up for profit. Blair does what they tell him, so he gets his pocket filled, and the left just protect the system by going around doing their silly little marches.
Silly, how come their marches are silly? And I bet you don't.
Well, we don't have marches.
You don't have marches? Why not?
There you go, people. I don't really want to play much more of that ridiculous propaganda. You can go and find it if you want. There you go. So interesting, though, just that little clip. Everything Mark said then, Russell would happily say today. Interesting. Hello, Alan. Don in Armour is in as well. I hope you're well, Al. Don in Armour says, I remember this video back in the day, but yeah, he was a see you next Tuesday. We certainly are, Pizzle. We certainly are. All right, where are we? I've got something else I just want to quickly show you. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, not that. That's ridiculous. Oh, where are we? You still here? Yeah. Hello, people. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, and he's maintained that his whole life. It's just endless energy, endless passion, and just a level of integrity. I mean, he's like a kid here. Anyone at that age is going to end up not looking good, especially when it's going to be edited against your ideology. Without a doubt, Sean. Hello, Mark. Certainly is, Pete. You're all right, Alan. It was a pleasure. I feel a bit bad because I didn't make enough. Right, listen, Scrubs. It was Alan's birthday the other day, but I kind of said it in passing. Alan is one of the OG Scrubs. Show him some love. I sort of said it in passing the other day. I think only me and Packer heard it. Show Alan some love. I hope you had a good birthday, Alan. I'm going to put it in now. Happy birthday, Alan. No, look, I've done it. I don't know what happens with Packer. I send him the invite, and if he's about and he can do it, he does it. He didn't turn up. So I think he probably picked a good one to have a break, though, because I had so much to say about this. There you go, Scrubs. There you go, Alan. Sorry about that the other night on your actual birthday. Those A's are for you as well. That's a lazy happy birthday. You're all right, mate. Hope you had a cracker. What is it, 21, was it? Right, let me just find this other little thing I want to show you. Oh, not that. Bosh. Wait, what channels are you people watching apart from this one? Hello, Echo. The Earth, Coincidence, Control. I can't remember what the O stands for. People, I can't tell you how weird it was. Years ago, when I sort of got about 16, I thought before I start doing loads of hallucinogenics, I need to do my research. By research, I mean reading Carlos Castaneda, The Doors of Perception, and weirdly in some, remember those old bookshops, and there'd be all those little science books that were essentially PhD publications. And I found this one, and it was called The Center of the Cyclone by Dr. C. Lilly. And I just like the cover. It was one of those sort of lucky stroke unlucky finds. And I've opened it up, and I just have a flick through it, and all I kept seeing, someone's taken the fartmobile home. All I kept seeing was LSD 25, like on every page about 20 times. And I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. So I took it home and I read it, and it was barking mad. But check this out. To this day, it's mad. Dr. C. Lilly, it's considered that he's the first person to ever say far out. Far out, man. And this is why. So he was a research student. Echo Phone Home might be able to confirm this. I think he was at Harvard or Stanford, one of those big, might have been Yale, one of those Ivy League, when that meant something back in the day. And he was allowed to do experiments with actual lysergic acid 25. This was like 1964 or something. He's got liquid stuff and he's mainlining it. Like, why not? I mean, if you got it, you're hardly going to wait for a purple on to turn up. Wait for Glastonbury. So he's shooting LSD 25. And he's trying to sell it as research. And at the beginning of the book, it kind of feels like it. He starts talking about how the visuals might actually be a product of the way the eyes work, and certain amino acids and the suppression of certain neurotransmitters might be causing A to cause B. But you can tell that because he's doing this research as he's writing the book, he's slowly losing the plot. Now, ECCO Phone Home might say he's actually finding the plot as the book goes on. He's losing the plot. But back then I thought, this is amazing. And he's on one of these, like, imagine I mean, I have shot it, but it was like liquid acid, which is probably not the same as pure lysergic acid from Yale or whatever. And while he's on it, he says in the book, there's a bit where he says, I decided it wasn't quite time to stop. You know, when you start coming down and you're like, oh, no, I'll have to double up, but I ain't ready yet. Gone. So he goes into his laboratory while he's tripping. Probably not a good time to go in a laboratory. Oh, Echo, let me know if you remember this from the center of the cyclone. He goes into his laboratory. Also, Echo, let me know if this is just how I've remembered it and what I've got wrong. But he goes into his laboratory and he picks up a pre-prepared 20 mil, no, it's not, it's about 3 mils of lysergic acid, and he shoots it, and he's like, very quickly I understood something was wrong. And what he's actually injected is a syringe full of cleaning fluid. So he's obviously they're obviously not disposable syringes, they're like the old glass ones, and he's just poured some bleach or something up into it and left it there to clean. And he's just shot that into himself. He goes into a coma. Now, because he's in a coma, the acid has got free reign. I mean, acid's kind of got free reign anyway, but he has, like, what he says, he thinks it might have been like a week-long trip. And there's a bit in it where he sees these two sort of lights. There are 4 lights. He sees these 2 lights, and they say to him, you can come with us now if you want, but we don't think it's your time, and it's up to you. And he says that he thinks they were saying to him, if you want to die now, you're almost there, just give up and you can come with us. And he says it was the most far out I'd ever been. By the end of that book, he's talking about dolphins. He's talking about giving dolphins acid. He's talking about dolphins talking on like 30 different levels, and one of them is the LSD. He's shot to shit by the end of it. About 5 years later, now remember, I'm trusting it. I'm loving it. I'm not laughing at it, and maybe I shouldn't now, but the ignorance of youth is hilarious. About 5 years later, in a similar bookshop in another part of the country, I stumble into a book, Dr. C. Lilly, Programming and Metaprogramming the Human Biocomputer. and it is nuts. It's parading as actual academic research, but it reads just like guesswork. He's just saying stuff. Essentially, it's a diatribe where the point he's making is everyone should do acid, which is in many ways much of what most of the hippies in the 60s thought. And I'll tell you this, I'm not totally against that. I'm in a weird position as someone who's planning a family, because I want to keep my kids away from everything I've ever said online, because I don't want them to know what a naughty boy I've been. And I want to protect them against hideous things like crack cocaine and heroin. But do I want, if they were boys, would I want them to miss out on LSD? I don't know, man. I got so much out of that stuff. Let me know in the chat what you think. I mean, anyone here got kids that have done acid? I've got friends who've done acid with their father. That ain't right. That ain't right. Can you imagine tripping and it's like, hello, Dad? I mean, it'd be particularly weird for me because my dad's dead. Well, maybe I would see him. Oh, there you go. Well done, Scrubs. That's nice. 55. Still older than me, Al. Still old. Not by a lot, though. Let's have a look what people are saying here. Have you read it, Sean? Have you read Dr. C. Lilly? Oh, yeah. So I asked what people are watching. JP said history debunked. Yeah, I'm into it, but, you know, it's almost too much. Munch. Oh, that's not good. Loose Women, Moody Edges enjoying. Vigorous Steve is my new channel. Best medical advice on steroid use. Good Lord. Glenn doesn't watch anything except for this, but which is very kind of you. Academic Agent, Sargon, Navarra Media. People, if you don't know, Navarra Media is kind of bread tube. It's like leftist nonsense. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Winstoner. Neil Christie says, apart from this one, I only watch white supremacist channels. Yeah. Do I still watch Story? Yeah, weirdly I do. It's a weird one. I remember we bumped into each other in their comments once. It was like seeing your mate in Asda. I still think that, what was it? Is it Asian Roof Culture? One of the greatest movies I've ever seen. Mark is finally home. Nice to see you, mate. Mark's had some bad family news. I hope that's as best it could be, mate. Yeah. You can pizzle, but not this year. That's a proper reach. Okay, nice one, people. I'll have a look at those later. I'm just seeing. Alan's only done, what's a 4-way blotter? Like 4 blotters in one hit? I've done 4 blotters in one hit. Is that what you mean, Alan? Alan on the acid out in Appalachia. It's great tripping out there. Not really YouTube. I'm being ironic. Anyone else here ever read anything by Dr. C. Lilly? I can't believe I only lost 2 viewers while talking about Dr. C. Lilly. People usually jump ship when I get into the substance talk. Sean, that's interesting. Sean says he's only done 1 penny acid. That was a thing on the dark web, wasn't it? On all the dark web market selling 1p acid. People are microdosing. I've got an issue with microdosing. If you're going to do acid, it's either working or it isn't. Isn't that right? There was nothing worse than doing acid and it not being enough. Thankfully, I used to have a couple of 100 trips in my pocket and you could just eat 10, but I hated that. You'd all be really excited. 4 of you, you'd go down the woods or something. You'd all have one strawberry arm or a purple arm. You'd sit there, here it comes, and it doesn't quite get there. Absolutely horrible. And then, of course, there's the opposite. When you have those penguins, I mean, I know it's just a print, but they were brutal. And you have 3 of them and it's coming up. Oh, here it is. Oh, no, there's more. There's more. And the next thing you're seeing sounds and hearing colors. Gross pizzle, awful. Glenn nearly dead on the acid. Phil's was ease and oxy. Yeah, that oxy will get hold of you. There you go, Alan. Rambly, hello, Rambly Man. Rambly Man. I know I say it every time. You're probably sick to death of it. Rambly Man watched this channel when there was like 10 subscribers. Amazing. Oh, I don't know about that. I wasn't a fan. Anyway, I won't go down that road. Where's this video I wanted to show you? Let me just find it. Oh, I want to tell you a couple of quick marketing stories, just because they're interesting. Not that anyone gives a fuck about marketing. Listen to this. There was this business that they owned a big, like a skyscraper somewhere on the West Coast, as far as I can remember. And they kept doing these like researches for, they hired out different floors to different companies. And they continue to send out these surveys to find out how they can make their buildings better, how they can improve things, obviously, so that when they put the prices up. And continually people complained about the speed of the lift, of the elevator lift across the Atlantic. And so they it kept coming up. So they talked to the people who made the lifts, and they said, look, people are complaining. We've got a 40-story building, and people are saying it's like they wait in 2.5, 3 minutes. And what a world when you can't wait 3 minutes to have a little box take you up 40 stories. I mean, what? And the lift company said, well, it'll cost you about 10 million. We can replace the boxes, the cables, the winches, the engines. We can do all of that. It's going to cost you about 4 million. So they looked into it. They raised the funds. They worked out that, maybe it'd be worth it in the long term, all that sort of jazz. Just before they were about to get this work done, one of their young up and coming people said, hang on a minute. And he was all about depth probing, which is the marketing that came in the middle of the 20th century. Kind of the front runner was a German bloke called Ernest Dichter. And it was about, rather than look into the obvious logical problems, rather than looking at rational logical issues, find out what's going on an irrational emotional level. And that was the big change. What's his name? Bernays got involved in it as well. Obviously the Bernays being the nephew of Freud, in the 20th century, the whole idea of unconscious emotions, it just got into everything. Interpretation of Dreams was published in 1905. It was almost like the explosion of the century of self. Let me just have some water. The old nodules are kicking in. You didn't really want to see my thing going, my thing. So this geezer actually looked into it. You all right, love? Oh, my missus is getting bored. She wakes up for me so I can service her after the stream when I'm all hyped. And she's just told me she's going to sleep. You going to sleep? Me? I don't day. Just speaking Khmer, people. Just something I do. No one else understands it except for her, and I don't think she understands it. Come on, Knyong Twerga, Knyong Admin Loy. See you later, chicken. Right, me loy. Right, so he done it. He done some focus groups. He done some depth probe, and he found out, unsurprisingly, people weren't actually. They didn't want a faster lift, because that's what you'd think. They want a faster lift. They don't. What they didn't want, it's not about what they wanted, a faster lift. They didn't want to stand there doing nothing for 2.5 minutes. That was actually what it was about. Not wanting a faster lift, but not wanting to stand there doing nothing. So he looked into it, done all the depth probing, followed Ernest Dichter's advice, and he said, listen, instead of spending 3 or 4 grand on replacing all the lifts so that it's 10 seconds quicker, he said, make the doors on every floor that wait for the lift full-length mirrors. And he said, then people can sit there looking at themselves. They can sit there looking at birds. They can, if they're on their own, they can do a bit of grooming, because if they're in an office building like that, they're either going to a restaurant or to work, to an interview, something. So last minute, sort of, get your tie sorted out. And that's what they done at a cost of about 5 grand. No one ever complained again. No one ever complained again. Because now 2.5 minutes isn't long to be looking in a mirror. And all the cameras, there was no more of these people keep banging the thing and looking up at the number and all frustrated. No, they were just there, you know, like humans do when you give them a mirror in a couple of minutes. Another wicked one, I can't remember what company it was. It might have been Virgin, and it was the London to Manchester train. And it used to take like nearly 4 hours, and, you know, a bit of lube on the tracks, a bit of a better engine, some new this. I don't know enough about the engineering to give you actual details of what it was. And they got it down to about, I think about 2 hours, 50 minutes. And still people in surveys, the customer surveys they've done, it takes too long. What would make you feel better about this journey if it was quicker? If it didn't take so long, blah, 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 all these things. So they looked into it, and at an expense of, you can imagine trying to make the London to Manchester tracks and trains go faster, billions of pounds. And they worked out they could probably shave about 20 minutes off it. Is that going to make people stop thinking that it takes too long? No, because that's too long. So they were all considering it, blah, blah, blah. And again, one little upstart said, you know what? It's not that it takes 3 hours. People are happy. People are happy to wait 3 hours if they're not bored. So what do you do about that? Put Wi-Fi on the train. They did that and saved all that money, and all the customer surveys didn't mention how long it took. Again, well, you know, 1 or 2 people would, but it wasn't the obvious problem it was before. They also improved the food. They also done deliveries. So it's incredible. The incredible thing about marketing is you don't take the obvious. It's too slow. People have said it's too slow. We can't do much about that, but you can make the length of time seem smaller. You know, if you've got Wi-Fi, how everything changes. How many times have you been on a train or something and you actually are a bit annoyed when it finally arrives because you were quite enjoying watching that video, that film, playing that game, watching that podcast, watching that replay of a football match, and you're like, oh fuck, we'll be there in a minute. Without a doubt, I've done that loads of times. I've done it on aeroplanes. You know, it's like the captain's like, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be arriving in Patong in approximately 15 minutes. And, oh, bollocks, there's another 30 minutes of this movie. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Brad James, thank you, Brad. Hoyt to that. Brad says this. Regarding adolescence, okay, so on the off chance that you don't know, some ITV, Andrew Laura, hang on. Stay on track, Danger. Adolescence is a story of a young working class white boy who gets turned into an extremist from watching, I don't know, incel stuff. Obviously, I haven't watched it because no way would I be able to stomach it. And Keir Starmer, I'll slip when I said Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer, being the absolute dolt he is suggesting that schools get funding to show this to their kids. Can you imagine being in an inner city school where you absolutely know the score? I bet they're all cracking. I bet they're all laughing their heads off. And when the teacher says, right, what do you think of that? Come on, even the black kids are going to go, yeah, that ain't right. That ain't right. It's anti-white propaganda. It's an unnecessary bullshit reflection of the unreal conditions of cultural production. Brad says, regarding adolescence, the woke horrors of the mainstream media, class misogyny, as the likes of that guy on the street in York asking what green flags are in a woman, but never the enrichers. It's just jokes. I mean, Andrew Lawrence on Twitter, if you don't follow Andrew Lawrence, do so. He is the last UK comedian who's actually got the balls to call this stuff out. He's touring at the moment. I've met Andrew. He's a legitimately odd bloke. And that's what you want in your comedians. You want someone who you can go and see where you're like, what the fuck is this? Really intriguing. And a proper journeyman comic. He's been gigging for 20 years. He sacrificed his career. He's got a wife. He's got kids. Andrew Lawrence was appearing on on the Apollo on telly. He was on panel shows. It was all, he was doing everything right. But God bless him for having the integrity to call out what is happening in the UK at a massive cost to him. So if the dissident right don't support him, no one will. So I would never advise you to go and see someone just to support them. That's not fair on you, and it's a pity vote. Andrew's excellent. He's an excellent comedian. Check him out on YouTube. Follow him on X and watch what he posted. He posted this thing yesterday about adolescence. He pretended to be Keir Starmer, and he went, "Some of you may have heard of the recent documentary called Adolescence." It's brilliant. But yeah, he's on tour at the moment, and you'll be supporting him. You'll be supporting a good message, and you'll have a great night. Take your missus or missuses, take your misters. And you'll have a real laugh about things that actually, for once, you can agree with, which is a weird change in with current modern comedy. I'm just trying to work out. I don't know about the video, Brad, so it's a bit over my head, this one. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they do you mean, I don't know who you mean by the enrichers. Am I treading on dangerous ground with that, Bradley? Don't forget, Brad's got a Substack. People, check it out. Recent article about Cockneys and Mockneys and the accent, worth a read. Alan's youngster was on heroin. That can't be nice, Alan. I mean, the hell I put my poor mother through. Bless her. Awful. Yeah, can't be nice. We are not mushrooms. Watch a lot of my girlfriend's now talking to me. She's got her limits. Yes, love. I love you too. That's lovely. Oh, okay. Sorry, Brad. I'm all over the shop. Okay, good call. Pay no attention to man beyond the curtain says, I agree, different states of consciousness should be explored and experienced safely. It's a weird one with LSD, because when I say I learned a lot, I don't think you can learn more than you already know. But as I always say, it gave me a distance from the familiar. It got to the point where it got quite repetitive, because acid can't make you clever. Acid can't make you bright, but it can distance you from the familiarity of things. Like, it always fascinated me on acid when people would come up to you and they'd start going, "Are you all right? Are you all right? Are you all right?" Trying to freak you out. And it'd be like, well, I was, until you started acting like a twit. But look at something like a biro that you never look twice at, and you haven't looked twice at since you were probably a kid. And it's absolutely fascinating. I've said this a few times. My first ever trip was on mushrooms, and it was just like it was a walk through the means of production and through to consumption and the history of language. Now, those ideas and thoughts were already in me because I'd been studying them. Well, I hadn't. I was 16, but I sort of had. I'd been thinking about them. But getting that sense of distance from the familiar, would I want to deprive my kids of that? Special K on acid said drugs are bad. Okay. Hello, Tom Gog. British Lander, another channel. Hello, Sophist, how are you? A VTuber called Nuxanor. Okay, thanks. Cheers, Glenn. Echo Phone Home says, I agree and disagree with parts. Oh, this is amazing. I hands up, I was 15. So we're going back about, what, 10 years? I agree and disagree with parts of your retelling. Frankly incorrect about the thesis about program and meta-programming. But I see where yeah, thanks. I mean, like I say, it was a long time ago, and I was, without a doubt, absolutely off my rocker when I read it. So I definitely got a disjecta membra of the whole thing. I thought it was Doctors DR silly. Microdots most certainly were. Me and a mate once went to, well, he lived in Wimbledon, and we had a couple of microdots, and we were really looking forward to it. We'd had them before. We were happy with their potency. And he went, ready? I went, yeah. And he put his in. If you don't know people, you know lighter flints. Imagine cutting a lighter flint into 3. That's what microdot acid looks like. It looks like a little bit of a lighter flint. I've chucked mine in my mouth, he chucked his in his mouth, because you obviously want to be coming up and going down together. You don't. But I had chewing gum in my mouth, and I went, oh fuck, I've got chewing gum. So I started trying to find it in there, bubble gum actually, bubblicious. And he went, fuck it. He went, just swallow it. Big mistake, because now it's almost like time release, but not gradual. My stomach has got to dissolve. So he's coming up going, fucking hell, here we go. And I'm just going, and all I'm thinking is, right, how long is this going to take? 3 hours? And then I'm going to be 3 hours behind. The conversation's going to be tricky anyway, but now it's going to be really tricky. And once he starts going, oh, you know what? I think it's time to go to the booze. I'm going to be going, and that's what pretty much turned out. Terrible. Tom Gong says, where's the big hat in Soho? What, Sebastian Horsley? He's brown bread. I don't know. Is it a bar or something? I've never heard of it. Pizzle says a shoes and boot stream is way overdue, Chris. It's a subscriber killer, Pizzle. I mean, you know, you don't like LSD DJ. Other people don't like boots and shoes. I can't stand Owen Jones. I can't watch him. I can't talk. No. No way have you've just doxed Marzipan. You and Marzipan got on the acid from James. Well, hang on, this is the weirdest scrubbage networking ever. Amazing. If James is watching this, he's like, shut up. Sean on the 1 penny acid. It's brilliant to microdose on. You're in a lovely mood and sociable. Any negatives? Are you not knackered all the time? I mean, I love acid, but it took it out of me. Don't do drugs, people. There's a great US channel called MRE. Oh, let me know in the chat if you've had Salvia. What a mess that is. Awful. Everyone, right, so people, Salvia is a plant. You can grow it easily. Get the seeds. You can grow it in about 5 weeks, 4 or 5 plants. Really, though, you want the oil. Don't do it. It's legal. Salvia is part of the sage family, but whereas sage, I think, is Salvia originalis, the psychoactive salvia is Salvia divinorum. Now, someone said to me, he said, there's this new, I'm going back like 30 years here. He's no longer than that, about 35 years. He went, there's this new psychedelic that everyone's doing called Salvia. And this was before you could even get the refined oils. You just had to smoke a ton of the leaves. And it is the leaves. It's not like the plants of the flowers of cannabis. It's literally the leaves, sage, Salvia divinorum. And I went, he said, you can buy like a big bag of the stuff for like $5. And I'd be like, why haven't you got loads of it then? He went, I went, hang on, what do you mean, Am? I said, does it work? He said, oh yeah, you're tripping balls. He said the old world turns into a conveyor belt, like, and just keeps repeating itself. And I'm like, this sounds amazing. He went, yeah, next bloke I met, have you heard of this Salvia? He went, oh, don't tell me about it. He said, we bought a fucking quarter pound of the stuff and we spent all night, about 8 of us. I was like, wow. I went, have you got any left? He went, no, we threw it out. And I was like, hang on, you threw it out? I went, does it work? He went, yeah, we were tripping balls. Why'd you throw it out? And he was like, and this kept happening. Everyone I talked to was like, yeah, you're absolutely tripping my lipping. And he went, but everyone couldn't really say, of course. So I finally got some. I still owe the bloke money. His name's Salvia John. If anyone goes to Strawberry Fair in Cambridge, if you see Salvia John, tell him Chris Dangerfield is sorry. He bailed me a load. He sent it to me. Someone told me about him, got his number. I rang him up. I said, can you send us a load? I'll send you the money. Well, the Salvia arrived, and I thought, well, come on. If I ever see him again, I will give it to him. And so we got a load. And we all sat around and we caned it. And you know when people say things like, well, the thing about psychedelics, they should be used in like a proper ritualistic setting, all this sort of stuff. And you're like, oh, come on, it's just acid, or come on, it's just mescaline. That salvia is darkness, and you can't put your finger on it because it's not of this world. If ever you want to believe in God, Salvia. I mean, I kind of do, but Salvia is. Well, there you go. I've just done the same response all those people done to me. It's. I'm going to just see what the. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. You're talking about Salvia, are you? Sean says, I smoked the 90. Yeah, because now you can get all the oils, people. It's extract. You don't have to sit there literally chuffing half ounce of leaf. And the world started ending. Hang on. I know we've looked at a couple of these before, people, but they never get old. And this one is the best one. What a stroke. So here we go. So this is the 100 times strength. This is the, if you go on YouTube and type in bad salvia trip, you can't find a good salvia trip on there, but this is the best one. Is it right to laugh at people having bad salvia trips? Yeah, because 10 minutes they're going to be all right, and that's it. But check out this fella. This is brilliant. So here we go. I mean, he looks kind of, oh, bollocks. Hello, people. So look, he's about to have it. I think it's his first time. Trust me, this is worth a watch. Hello, Wolfie.
Oh, good old Salvia. Take the whole ball right now.
And take a hit that you can.
This is what everyone says. They say, hold it in as long as you can. Hold it in. And then you think it's done nothing. And suddenly, like a sledgehammer to your cerebral cortex.
Handle in your lungs. You know, don't make
I got big lungs.
Don't make it too big, but you don't really want to do. You want to divide into a couple.
I mean, I'm judging the fellow on very little information, but he seems like a sort of quite a straight bloke. He hasn't got a clue what's coming. Hello, Rags. That's what you want. Like invasion. And someone's about to turn the reality light on.
You got another hit in here. You got another 2 hits.
The Salvia bad trip is losing me viewers, people. Hold tight. It's worth it.
Right.
That suspicious face, look.
Hold it, hit it.
I did. You're wrong. Yeah, I knew exactly what it was.
It's very quickly, yes.
You tripping? Where the fuck's going?
He's gone full spastic, look.
Where's everyone else?
It's just us.
Whoa, that car's moving, man.
Where are you from?
From Kerrville.
Oh, okay. Oh, Kerrville. You 2 people from Kerrville.
Yeah.
Where are my people?
Where are your people?
Where are my people?
Where are you
Amazing
at?
archetype.
We're here with you. You're tripping on Salvia.
Where are you? Where are you? Where are you?
We're here in the same place in the car.
Tell me where you are.
We're here.
James is on the phone, isn't he?
You got your hand
Where?
on my arm. You're right here.
Who?
David.
Who? Who?
Mm.
I guarantee when he opened that sunroof, that fella tripping would have thought that was a portal to a completely different dimension.
Who?
David.
Who the hell is it? It's David and Tina. Watch out. You're grabbing your laptop. That's your laptop. Don't mess
David, you know what's going on.
You're tripping on Salvia.
Let him know.
All right, give me.
Don't mess up your laptop.
Never get out of the car. Never get out of the car. You know, when you're on acid and you leave the room and it is like
Come
walking
here.
into a different
Come
dimension.
here. Where you going? You all right? You're coming back from tripping on Salvia.
Yeah,
You
they're not doing the best job, are they, Mr. Smurf?
some Salvia.
What happened?
You tripped the fuck out
Where the fuck am I?
at my house. You almost broke the computer. Yeah, you're trying to fuck with it while I was on my lap.
Oh, I tell you what, people, I have to say that look of suspicion on his face. I've seen so many people on that, like with that look on loads of different psychedelics. And it just took me back then to that, you know, you're 15, 16, you start getting into this sort of stuff. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? I just remembered watching that, how mind-blowing it is when you that first ever trip where you suddenly realize the world as you know it is not necessarily self-identical. You're just like, this isn't right. You know, I remember being in my mother's house, a place I knew like my mother's house. You know, I'd been there for like 15 years. And it might as well have been, it was like a Persian castle. And I can assure you, my mother's 2 Up, 2 Down was not a Persian castle, not only in aesthetic, but also in scale. You know, my mother's house is 13 foot across. Like it's a cell, it's a rabbit hutch, but it was so vast. And I just remember like, and then you try and test these new premises. I was just thinking, this place is huge. I've never noticed before how big this place is. In fact, I've always thought it was rather small. And then I sort of went, ba, ba. And of course, there's an echo. Literally, ba, 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 ba. And I was thinking, yeah, how strange. I've obviously taken it. I've taken it for granted so much that it appears small to me. I'm getting less information because of familiarity. Yeah, it was like a huge Persian castle. You can imagine my disappointment when I got back later that night and it had gone the other way. It looked really dirty and tatty. I remember the walk home thinking, I can't wait to get back to that castle. And it was just a bit, I walked in and it was a bit sort of musky. Smelled like dirty clothes. Good times though, but definitely don't do it, people. Right. Listen, I've had a really good stream. So encouraging to have had nearly 160 people here for the duration. If you could know that when you come around with blood on your shirt, lots of it, and it's not yours, what happens on Datura stays on Datura. Good memory though, Mike. Oh, Alan, without a doubt. There's estates as long as you can see of houses that are 13 foot square and that's it. Tiny places in England. When we see TV shows about America and they talk about like the hood or like the working areas, they're like, yeah, but look at all those massive detached houses. This is paradise. Please like the stream. Check out my new shorts. I deleted the old batch. I'm going for something new. Nice little quotes that I like from literature. You can even donate while I'm playing the outro music. If you are new here, I tend to stream at weekends. There's no set schedule. Usually about 4 or 5 o'clock UK time I start. You're all welcome. It's an absolute pleasure. And now it's the outro music. It's been. I've just realised for you lot, it's Saturday afternoon. Your Saturday night's kicking in now, isn't it? I'm done. It's 2:30 in the morning, Sunday. Good Lord. Hello, SUBSTACK. How are you, son? I always forget how many people are looming. Alan likes the smaller homes I've seen in England. They seem more intimate. Yeah, but for 13, 14 years, Alan, that intimacy, I mean, there is something about them. You know, there's something, like my mother's house was an absolute cacophony of tessellations and patterns. Like the carpet was like a psychedelic weave of different flowers. The sofa was a psychedelic weave of different flowers. The wallpaper was a psychedelic weave of doilies. The ceiling was a psychedelic weave of different Artex patterns. It was like, you know, it was like the visual sort of kinetic energy on the place was unheard of, and that's quite typical. You look at especially women, well, grandmothers, and there's grandfathers there, but grandmothers tend to do the aesthetic choices. You know, there isn't a sort of a understated and unspoken psychedelia to the traditional working class terrace house. Like the sort of the love of patterns, the love of repeating patterns is a thing. You know, that was another thing where in my early days of tripping, I just sort of understood where all the psychedelic patterns come from, but they're certainly part of English culture. The repeating, you know, tessellations has been a thing in England for millennia. No. Anyway, people, there you go. I'm going to put your comments on the screen as I leave. Say something lovely. Give someone something nice to think about. Enjoy your weekend. You've been great. The chat has been... just before you go, right? I watched a short the other day. This geezer's streaming. His missus walks past and she says, you either carry on streaming and I'm leaving, or you talk to me about it now. And he says, what do you think, chat? It would be funny if my other half wasn't hovering as I speak. Here we go, people. This is The Matoid with Funeral Party. Feel free to sing along with 1, 2, 2, 3, 7. Yeah, I'll be putting your messages on the screen. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to everyone who donated. Thanks to everyone who's been here. Thanks for all your comments. And this is The Matoid.
1, 2, 3, 7, yeah! Right on, baby. The priest is here, and the casket is ready. Body inside looks nice and steady. Let's play it for the man, for the last time, play it for the man. Farewell, play it for the man, for the last time, play it for the man. Praise the Lord, and we got to go on with the funeral party. 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 Yeah! All right. Now the priest is talking, and the casket starts to move. Everybody's crying. We all got the groove. Let's play it for the man.
Charlie.
For the last time, play it for the man. Farewell, play it for the man. For the last time, play it for the man. Praise the Lord, and we got to go on with the funeral party. Got to go on with the funeral party.
Yeah, that might be one actually live.
Got to go on with the funeral party. Yeah! All right. Everybody cry. Praise the Lord.
No, it's Monday, I think.
Yeah. Praise the Lord. We got to go on with the funeral party. Got to go on with the funeral
I don't know. I'll send him notifications. I think he's done with it. I think he's had enough. It happens. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was The Matoid with Funeral Party. Quiet, sir. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Massive hoy. Ta-da. Hoy.